Okay, boys, this is the update on the trade that I told you that I was going to take. So this is GBP card. The reason why I sold on GBP card was simply because we had the indication, then we had the correction, and then we had the continuation, right? So if you observe, I don't know, we'll market. Let me see this. Okay, let's go back. So we had this low over here. Okay, this was an area of what? This was an area of resistance in the market, right? If you guys observe, price came here and it bought. Okay, we saw that there was strong bullish momentum after price came to this zone. What happened is that afterwards price came underneath this level to give us the indication. All right, so the indication for me, I count plus even the week. Right, price left this week behind, but this is all an indication. Price stopped here, so it went for a correction, and then afterwards price came underneath this zone, right? So I came into this area, I came into this trade knowing that if price was to go against me, my maximum stop loss would be above this area here. So it's around 18k, right? And then the first TP was around this area here, right? So that would have been around a 1 to like 0 point something, right? But the reason why I held on to this trade a bit longer was because when I went to the daily time frame, I realized that price had the potential to clearly go all the way to this level of what? Support. So this was my area of support. As you can see, this was my first area of support. If you observe, my TP was even to this second area of support. So it was from here to here. But here's my first TP, just in case you guys want to understand my first TP. And yeah, that's how we have been holding this trade for the past couple of days, right? This is actually part of the challenge that this guy sent me. If you've been watching me, you know that I had a challenge with AI. If I'm to show you that challenge, we had an AI challenge whereby I had to make $100 on a $1,000 account, right? So for this challenge, I don't have to risk more than 1% of my account per trade. Secondly, I have to make sure that, for instance, for this trade here, for me to exit this trade, right? Why should I exit this trade? If there is a break of structure, if there is an indication that price gives me where it doesn't want to continue the bearish trend, then I'll close. For instance, look at here, right? We had the indication. You could have had another re-entry here. Look at this, price made an indication. Okay, it made an indication below this level of support on the H1. We had an indication, a correction, and then a continuation underneath this low. So this was also another good continuation push, right? But anyways, I just want to calculate the number of pips that I so far have collected in this trade. So if you check, this is around this is plus 0.43%. okay, so plus 0.43 of the account. If you have like if your target is to make like 1% of the account, this you would have reached it in this trade. But I'll show you guys something cool. So I will go to gold and I'll just analyze. This is just the bonus part. I'm just making the bonus part for you guys because I believe that you guys deserve the best. Okay, so for gold, I'll first of all go to the H4 and show you guys that gold has actually been pretty bearish from the head on, right? We had this low, price broke underneath this low. Okay, you see over here, we had this low level of support. Price was resisting to go underneath this area until we had that break of the support, right? What happened is that underneath this zone, I was expecting sales all the way to this first area of what? Support. So this was probably my whole criteria, that if price went underneath this zone, that if price went underneath like 4020, I was expecting it to sell all the way up to 3971, right? But what happened, what ended up happening is that instead price failed to create that strong bearish momentum that we saw earlier on, right? Instead, it decided to do what? To make higher highs and then higher lows. Look at that. We had a higher low over here, then price made a higher high. We had a higher low again, and then price, after that, it came above this area, giving us that continuation push. All right, so what happened is that you don't usually see much on the H4, so I usually go to the daily to the H1 just to see the structure. So I'll delete most of that. Okay, I'll delete also this. So in the H1 you see that we had this level of support. We had this level of support over here in the H1. Okay, so price is so far giving us an indication. This is all an indication move, guys. I want you to keep that at the back of your mind, that this whole move first of all took out the previous area here. Okay, so you have an indication. Let me first show you. Okay, so if you observe to the upside here, we had this level of support. Price was buying off of this, right? What had happened is that price broke underneath this level of support, giving us the indication, and then we're waiting for that correction move so that we can have a potential continuation push to the downside. So if we have like a correction by tomorrow is Friday, right? We have a correction, then we could potentially have another continuation move, right? So for this week, yeah, I think for this week I took one trade. I took one trade this week, one good trade for this week, and I was done. Okay, I was done. Now we are currently at this area on gold. We don't know where exactly it will stop, but you can go to the M15 so that you can observe like the structure. So in the M15, if you observe, we have this area of support, which price is failing to break. On top of that, we also have another area of resistance there. That price, after it broke, it made some bit of resistance, then it sold off. Look at that, price broke underneath this area. Okay, then it came here, it made some bit of like resistance, then it sold off, right? So these are the two areas where I see price has to first of all face some bit of like consolidation and stuff. But for today, I didn't trade gold for today because the structure wasn't like so clear. Okay, structure wasn't clear, and I was also expecting some bit of a pullback, right? Because remember, I told you guys that so far what I see on gold is that we have this high. Okay, we have this area here where price broke out of. Look at that, price broke out of this high. Okay, gave this huge move. If it corrects all the way to here, I'll be, it's just part of that day. I'll just call it part of that day, right? And if it corrects until it reaches this area here, it's okay. I'll take the day off. Maybe tomorrow and today and tomorrow I may not trade gold on this account because I've had good trades on GBP card. Remember, this is 0.01 and we're already making money off of 0.01. So imagine that, right? Just one day we have made over almost 0.5% of the account, right? 0.5% of the account just in a single day. So the AUD card is some other pair which I see which has potential, but you have to analyze it from the high time from like the daily so that you can see the fuller picture. So if you observe my pair over here, AUD card, you observe that it's in a range, right? It's ranging from here. This is the first swing low, okay, and then you have the swing high over here. So price is ranging between these two areas. It's failing to break to the upside and the downside in these two areas. So given that information, I would probably be looking for setups perhaps later on, okay, but so far I don't see anything much in this trade. Okay, I can only mark up this area here where I saw the swing low. Okay, and let's wait for AUD card. Then NZD card, most of the card pairs actually they are selling. If you had observed, even GBP card was selling, right? So NZD card is also selling. That means that we have a strong Canadian dollar, right? Anyways, actually this market is also ranging. I don't usually trade ranging markets. That's why I just move from them as soon as possible. Okay, so then we have this other pair which is US Tech. US Tech, I was telling people that above this area, okay, above this swing, let me first move this plus this one also. So I was telling people that price came to this area of resistance, it sold off the first time, then we had this correction phase, then after some time price made that continuation push, but it failed to break the previous high. So that was the first indication that maybe price didn't want to like continue having another bullish momentum, right? And then on top of that, we see that price has been extremely this can be called like a bit of a consolidation and stuff, right? So yes, there's nothing much actually in this week. This week has been actually not so good, But for US30, if you observe, the structure has been there, right? We had these highs and lows. Okay, price broke all the previous swing lows, right? These were the previous swing lows. The first one was there, the second one, the third one. Price just broke through all that in just like what, one day. One day price took out the previous day. So this is how volatile the market is right now. I want you guys to take note of that the market is extremely volatile for our case, right? So we have this swing low over here. Okay, we have this area of support. So price gave us the indication, and then we have had the continuation. What do I mean by indication? Okay, so if you observe to the left, this was an area of support. Price came here, it bought, and then afterwards we had this indication. Okay, price sold until we reached this area. Then it bought, giving us the correction phase. Then underneath this area, it was selling. So where exactly do we target where do we expect our sellers to offset their positions? Okay, so we have this area of support over there. So if price reaches this area, we can know that for sure price wants to continue doing what? Selling. But yeah, for our pair here, US30, I don't really see much, especially on the daily time frame. I only see sells. And for the H4, price is extremely, as I will repeat, it's extremely volatile. That's what I would say, because we had this swing, we had this high, price broke above it, giving us the indication, then it corrected, taking out the previous low. So this is the market that we are dealing with, guys. We are not dealing with perfect structure. We are dealing with pinpoints in the market. I don't want you guys to always be obsessed with perfect structure. This structure which makes an extreme structure like this. I don't want you guys to be confused with structure which makes perfect highs and lows. No, market will make always these imperfect structures, and it will confuse lots of people because most people are used to these textbook examples. But what price will do is that it will usually make structures like this, right? You have your highs, you have your lows, but price in the end, it will go its way, right? It will make these weird structures, and you're like, oh, wow, what's happening? Okay, but this is like the general structure. Okay, so you have your swing low here, okay, and then you have the swing high over here. This is the swing high. But what price did, it just broke above your swing high. If you guys observe from my example, price broke above your swing high, and then you're like, what? Price is going to buy. Oh. What happened? Price never made the continuation push. Instead, what it did, it just sold off from there. This is part of like a liquidity grab kind of stuff that most traders actually don't. There are some traders who trade this, but you know, in my case, in most of the cases that I've been trading, I usually love to stick with what's relevant. For instance, US30 actually also we could have had a good trade actually. If you observe, we had this swing low over here. Okay, price broke above it, then this was the continuation push. Simple as that. Let me first remove this. Okay, so look at this. I want you to look at this from the H4, right? We had this area of support, price broke underneath it, giving us the indication push. Then we went for this correction phase. Although it took out the previous high, it doesn't like necessarily imply that price is bullish. No. As long as price goes underneath this level, I would have taken my sell entry here on US30, which is not the same on gold. Gold never gave us this structure, right? That's what I'm trying to bring out. That gold never gave us any signal. There was no signal, exactly no signal that price was going to sell off from gold, right? Unlike US30, which sold off, but for gold, no signal, nothing. Even maybe on the M15, someone could have caught it. Maybe someone would have caught it on the M15, right? You can prove me wrong. Maybe someone could have caught it on the M15, but from the high time frame, which I usually trade, there was no indication, there was no implication that gold was going to do what? To start selling aggressively. And maybe, yes, someone can tell me that we had like a head and shoulders pattern here. This was the neckline, head and shoulders, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, yeah. How many times does the head and shoulders pattern work? Especially if you're considering the fact that gold, for the previous couple of like weeks, it has been like trending based off of news, right? So look at this. We have this area of support, price broke above, then we had the indication. This is all indication, guys. I don't want you guys to be confused. This is all indication. So this whole move that you have seen that price has broken to the downside, this is all indication, right? That underneath this area of support, price is bearish. So I wouldn't take any risk, absolutely zero total risk for me to take a sell entry here, because it doesn't make sense for me to sell here, right? I would rather wait for the Asian session to correct, and then maybe by tomorrow I may see some push to the downside. That's all that I'm expecting for gold right now. Yeah, we may we miss that trade, but I'm trying to show you that there are other trades where you could have taken this same exact setup. Okay, it's not only gold that you should be looking out for. Look at this pair. It gave you clean structure, clean visible structure. Your stop loss could have been just underneath this area here, 8k, right? Like $2, and then this is almost like $5, right? In my position, this is like $5. But what I'm trying to say is that these structures, once you don't have to stick with only gold, right? You can look out for other instances where price gives you clear, clean structure. You want clear and clean structure. That's the key word. You want clean structure, because if you don't have clean structure, you're going to mess up your trades. You're going to mess up your entries. So that's why I took this entry here, and we sold off. We had a massive sell-off, and life is good, right? Life is good, right? But I'll be showing you guys most of my entries and stuff like that. If you want to get all that premium content, it's for free. I don't even charge you a single penny, right? It's totally free, totally and absolutely free. So you don't have to pay for anything, right? You will be just make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and then you shall be getting notifications. Like every time I post a video, you're the first to know that, hey, Kevin has posted a video. Look out what is looking in the markets. So look at this. We had the swing high. Okay, price broke above it, giving us the indication. But look at how price respects the structure. We have this low over here. Price never breaks underneath this low, right? Even though it's selling, but it never breaks the previous structure. So that's the indication to you. That should be the indication that, hey, price is now doing what? Starting to become bullish. Look at this. Even though price came above this area the first time, right? Most people, once price started to sell, they would have been looking for like a head and shoulders pattern to sell off. No. For me, I would have been looking for buys. Why? Because price is respecting the previous bullish structures, right? Higher, low. This is a higher low. Price never broke underneath this higher low. So why should I be looking for sales? Even though, yes, we have two candles which are selling massively, doesn't like really mean much, right? And look at how price is respecting structure. Even here, look at this. Price is above this area. It's not taking out the previous low. Look at how it's respecting structure. So structure, in most of the cases that I've been trading, if you follow structure, you have a high probability of winning, right? You have a high probability of winning. Even here, look at this. We had this swing low. Okay, most people now complain that, oh, price is not giving me confirmations. But look at this. Price gave you the breakout, the pullback, and then afterwards you had this sell-off. Simple as that. Simple as that. You can do this every single day. So I'll give you some pairs which have cleaner structure. So GBP card is one of the pairs that actually gives you cleaner structure, right? If you want cleaner structure, GBP card is the pair. Then the other pair is gold, but currently gold is actually just messing around, right? It's not giving you clean structure. So GBP NZD is another pair which has also clean structure. If you observe GBP NZD, it has been bullish, right? It has been bullish. For the time being, it has been bullish. But I want you guys to observe something. It's the same thing repeating, okay? Look at this. We have this swing low, right? Okay? We have this swing low. Price came to this area, and then it bought off massively. Then we had the indication. Price sold off massively from this area, okay? Now, for all this correction phase, yes, price is bullish. Yes, price is bullish for all this. This is all just correction. But once price goes underneath this area, it's go time. That's when we enter, right? We go in. Sell. So what can you do about this? You just place your trading alerts, so that if price goes underneath this level, you are in. So in most of the cases, sometimes I can tell you to put like a sell stop, so that if price goes underneath there, you want to be selling, okay, and then you minimize the risk by like a 1-to-1, right? You can do that, but in most of the cases, I really love to see the structure. As price goes underneath this level, I want to see the structure, because sometimes it also happens. I'll be teaching you a lot. I'll be teaching you lots of stuff. We can go on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay, but so far, yeah, that's it. Like, I've really just given you the source. I've just given you the source for free. So make sure that you subscribe, and let's trade ICC together, right? I will be showing you most of these examples that you don't feel left behind. I'll be giving also signals, although I don't really love giving signals in my signal group. every now and then I will usually post like, hey, you can trade this, hey, but it's not something that I would usually do like on a daily basis. So yeah, let's go.